Do not rush to spend hundreds of dollars replacing this yellowed headlight that has almost lost all its brightness. Looking at its current condition, most people would think the only option is to buy a new headlight or pay for an expensive restoration kit. But today, with just one AA battery and a few cheap items, I will remove the yellowed layer and restore the clarity of this headlight right at home. Do not look away, because the final result will show how effective this strange method really is. First, I will prepare an old AA battery. Use a knife to carefully peel off the outer casing. When the casing is opened, use pliers to separate the positive terminal so we can take out the carbon rod inside. It is not a magical ingredient, but it can create a little extra friction when combined with the remaining ingredients. Next, I add toothpaste to a bowl. Toothpaste has a smooth texture and light abrasiveness, so it often appears in many tricks for cleaning plastic surfaces. Stir the mixture well so the black powder disperses inside. Then add a little vinegar. When the vinegar blends in, the mixture begins to thin out and becomes easier to apply. At this point, the mixture starts changing color. Finally, add one effervescent tablet. When the tablet begins to dissolve, the mixture foams lightly and looks more active. To make the result more objective, I will divide the headlight surface into two sections. One side will be treated. The other side will stay untouched. Before applying the mixture, spray water and wipe all the surface dirt clean. Spread the mixture evenly over the headlight surface. There is no need to apply it too thick. Just cover it evenly so the mixture can stay on the surface. Let it sit for about 10 minutes. This waiting time helps the mixture stay on the yellowed layer before we start sanding. After waiting long enough, I started sanding with 1200 grit sandpaper. This is the first step that directly works on the outer oxidized layer. Always keep the surface wet enough to limit deep scratches. Spray water continuously while sanding. Sand evenly in small sections without pressing too hard in one spot. If the surface becomes dry, the sandpaper will drag harder and can leave visible scratches more easily. Sand in one direction first, then change direction slightly, so the surface is treated more evenly. After one sanding pass, I rinse it clean with water. Use a towel to wipe lightly and observe again. You can see that the larger scratches have been reduced significantly. This is only the opening step for the finer sandpaper grits that come next. I switch to 1500 grit sandpaper. This grit is finer, helping smooth out the scratches left by the previous step. Sand while spraying water to keep moisture on the surface. Do not let the headlight surface dry while sanding. At this stage, the hand pressure needs to be lighter and more even. The goal is to make the surface more even, with fewer streaks and a smoother finish. Sand carefully in the center area, then gradually move toward the edges. Then, rinse clean again with water to observe and evaluate the shine. We continue spreading the mixture evenly over the headlight surface. This layer of mixture helps create extra lubrication and supports cleaning while sanding. Next is 2000 grit sandpaper. This is a fairly fine grit level. At this point, the surface is less yellowed, so the motion needs to be lighter and more even. Sand evenly work carefully into every corner and continue spraying water to keep the surface wet. After finishing, rinse the headlight clean with water. The larger scratches have almost disappeared. The surface begins to show clarity again. The final step is 3000 grit sandpaper. I spray water onto the surface before starting. In this step, I mainly handle the remaining imperfections. The goal is no longer to remove the thick yellowed layer, but to make the surface smoother before the final wipe. Sand lightly and evenly, and keep water on the surface the whole time. If the sandpaper feels like it is dragging spray, more water right away. There is only one more step before we know the final result. Rinse the entire surface clean with water. Right now, the headlight is already much brighter than it was at the beginning. But to see the clarity most clearly, we still need the final cleaning step. Use glass cleaner mixed with an effervescent tablet. When the tablet has completely dissolved, shake well before using. This solution will be used to clean the remaining residue after the sanding process. It also helps the surface look clearer and cleaner. And here's the result. The difference is very clear to the naked eye. The untreated side is still yellowed cloudy and lacking brightness. The treated side is clearer cleaner and reflects light better. How many points would you give this result? Comment below. Do not forget to hit like and subscribe so you do not miss the next DIY videos.